Hello everybody, it's Maikito, and as always, I'm gonna start by going over yesterday's picks. The slips or the player picks actually went. Bataya, he missed. He had three in the first half, so that would look like it was gonna miss right away. But then he just stayed at three and ended up getting a fourth save. 10 minutes to go, so that one wasn't good. Bryce Bamba over 3.5 saves. That one hit. Haji Wright over 2.5 shots also hit. I did also have some added plays. I added two in the description. Gumbao, he unfortunately he DMP'd. He ended up not starting the game. And then Victor Chust over 3.5 clearances. He hit. And then I also added one extra slip on Discord in case people, like, I posted like 30 minutes before the game in case anybody wanted an extra slip. But it was Lucas Boye, higher than 1.5 fouls drawn. That one missed. He only had one. And then I had Ruben Alcaraz over 45.5 passes, and that one hit. So overall, on player props with the YouTube, the description, and the ones I added on Discord, player props, I went 4 for 6. But then when it comes to money lines, I had personally put them all together into a parlay. And Leicester sold the very first game, and they ended up losing. I don't know if they're gonna win the title. They're choking really bad. And I did tell people on Discord that I just took the last 4 games that were remaining and put those all together because Leicester sold. So Leicester missed, and the other 4 all hit. Huddersfield, Coventry over 2.5 hit. Norwich moneyline hit. They were losing. They came back and won. Preston moneyline, that one was easy. They won 3-0. And then Lille to win their draw. They also they were winning, and then they got scored on, but they still won 2-1. And I did also say if you wanted to take plus money, you could have took Lille to win. So if you count the Lille to win, I went 5 for 6. But if you don't, I went 4 for 5. So I was close to sweeping those. But it was overall a pretty good day yesterday, and it is a very large slate tomorrow. And I went through, and I have more plays than usual, but I went through, only found the ones that I did like. I do have a couple leans at the end. Same thing with money lines. My first pick is going to be Lucas Ocampos over 1.5 fouls drawn, playing away from home for Sevilla, going up against Getafe. This is under Spain, La Liga in league. Getafe have actually averaged the most fouls when they foul other people in the league. The league average is around 14. They foul around 17 times. And Ocampos is likely to play more of a midfield role instead of like a usual like striker / winger role. And that's where most of the fouls from Getafe come from, in the midfield, because they're trying to break up the play of the other team because they don't hold too much of the position of the ball. They're sometimes 50-50, but they don't, not a team that holds a lot of the position of the ball. And they played 2 times previously this season already, and he went over in 1 out of the 2. And he has actually been fouled 2 or more times in his last 4 out of 5 games. So I know for sure he'll get fouled at least once. It's whether he gets that second. And I like the odds of taking this over, going up against Getafe, who foul the most out of anyone in the whole league. My next pick is in Bundesliga, in the German Bundesliga. It is Xavi Simons over 2.5 shots, playing at home for Leipzig, going up against Mainz. He averages 3.1 shots at home, so he already averages higher than this mark at home. He had 3 against Mainz away from home earlier this season, and Mainz just has a weak defense, and I like Xavi Simons to go over 3. And my next pick is actually him again. It is over 0.5 goals and assists for Xavi Simons. He has 11 goals and assists in 13 games at home. He plays much better at home than he plays away. And Mainz average, they concede around 2 goals, over 2 goals a game away from home. And they are still fighting for that European spot. They're 1 place behind, and they're only down by like 1 or 2 points. So they need to win. And in those games where they need to win, Xavi Simons usually always plays the full minutes, or at least a little less, like 2 minutes before the game ends. And that's if they're losing or tied or something. But he's going to be playing full minutes, and they need to win. He plays well at home, and he's going against a weak Mainz side. So I like him to go over 2.5 shots or 0.5 goals and assists. My next pick is actually his teammate, also in Leipzig. It is Castello Luqueba, over 80.5 passes. He was on Underdog when I was recording this video, or when I was doing the research, but they took him off, but they still have him on prizepicks. I expect him to still come back later or tomorrow morning sometime, back on Underdog. But Leipzig averaged 58% of the possession of the ball at home, while Mainz averaged 45%. So Leipzig already averaged more of the ball than Mainz, and especially when they're at home, they average more, and Mainz also average less away from home. He is over in 2 out of 5 games, but one of them was a hook, like he ended at 79, and the other one was against Leverkusen, who is the best team in the league, arguably the best in the world. So they had a lot of the possession. I'm confident that he'll go over as long as Leipzig have like 60% of the ball, which in my opinion, I think they'll have more like 65 to 70%. But at 80.5, I'm confident that he'll go over this mark as long as they have high position of the ball, which I think they will. My next pick, and I think this is probably my favorite, it's James Maddison over 2.5 chances created, playing at home for Tottenham, going up against Luton. This is in the English Premier League. He averages 2.7 in the Prem at home, and he goes slightly over this mark. But the main reason why I like him a lot is because, one, he had 4 against Luton last time he played them away from home, and the reason why he has 4 is because Luton allow a lot of shots that are not good defensively at all. They allow the most shots a game away from home. They allow like 20 shots, and even if Tottenham just shoot like 15, I'm confident that he'll be involved in 3. What chances created is just that he has to pass the ball to a teammate, and from that pass, his teammate needs to shoot. I'm pretty sure on prizepicks it is shots assisted. It is the same thing, but I like him to go over 2.5. This is usually what his mark is at normally, but playing at home against the worst defensive team in the league, I really like him to go over 2.5 chances created against Luton Town. My next pick is still in the English Premier League. It is Moises Caicedo to go over 0.5 chances created / shots assisted for y'all on prizepicks, playing at home for Chelsea, going up against Burnley. He averages 0.7 at home, which is above the mark that he needs to get at over 0.5. I just need him to get 1. Burnley allowed the second most shots actually away from home at 18. He had 2 against them last game away from home. And whenever Chelsea shoot a lot of shots, it's like 15, 17, 18 shots, Caicedo is going to be involved in at least one of them. Like I said before, like I said in the Madison pick, he needs to pass it to a teammate, and that teammate needs to shoot. And since he plays on the same side as Cole Palmer is going to be shooting a lot. I know his line's at 3.5, but I feel like it's just a little too high. I'm not too confident in taking it. But this is just going to be one where Caicedo's just going to pass the ball down the wing to Cole Palmer, and he'll take a long shot, and that's all we need. Whenever he goes against weaker teams that play away from home and they allow a lot of shots, he's gone over, such as Palace, Sheffield, Fulham, and Luton. So all we need him to do is to get 1 chance created, and I think he'll get that playing at home for Burnley. My next pick is Andreas Pereira, also in the English Premier League, playing away from home for Fulham, going against Sheffield. This one's more of a stat number-wise. I don't really follow him too much. I know who he is. Like, I see some of his games, but it's not like I follow him a lot. But the reason why I like it, just looking at the numbers, Sheffield averaged 6 corners against them. Like, they let other teams take 6 corners against them on average at home. And the reason why I say that is because he is one of their corner kick takers. And whenever Fulham gets 6 or more corners, at least 6 or more, Andreas has gone over 6.5 crosses in 5 out of 5 games. And he went over last game against them. Fulham had 9 crosses, and he went over this mark again. So just from number standpoint, I think this is a good mark for Pereira to go over 6.5 crosses, as long as they get at least 6 corners against Sheffield. My last player pick, it is Ciro Immobile, playing in the Italian Serie A, playing at home for Lazio, going against Juventus. I have him under 2.5 shots. Juventus is a good defensive team. They only allow around 13 shots away from home. And when Ciro Immobile goes against teams that has let Lazio shoot 13 or less, which is what Juventus allow, he's gone under in 4 out of 5 games. I feel like 2.5 is just too high for him. This mark should be at 2. He's gone under in his last 3 out of 3 games against Juventus, including this season and last season. And another reason why I like this is because Immobile is an older player and he never plays to full minutes. He usually gets subbed out around the 60 to 70th minute mark out of the 90. So I don't expect him to play the full minutes against Juventus, especially because it's going to be a physical match. And Juventus is a good defensive team, and this is just too high of a mark for Immobile to go over to get 3 or more. So I like him to go under 2.5 shots. And then when it comes to money lines, a lot of these games are actually pretty even for the most part. You can take like obvious like bankroll builders like the minus 300 plus plays that are juiced just in case you want to add them to a parlay. But I just don't want to add too many of those to mine just because I don't want to like inflate like my win numbers if I'm adding like 300 400 like minus 300 400 plays. But there is one lean that I have. It is Leverkusen minus 1.5 against Hoffenheim, and the Barcelona money line. One's a lean and the other one's juiced in case you want to add those to your list. But for my first pick, money line wise, it's under England Premier League. It is the Chelsea second half 3-way money line going up against Burnley. Burnley are a lot weaker in the second half away from home, and they are the worst team actually when you filter out when they're in the second half away from home. They're actually the worst team, and Chelsea is just a team that sometimes it can get a little for them to get started in the game. I don't expect them to be leading at halftime by more than 1 goal, but once that second half hits, they're going to want to secure that lead. Even if they score 1 goal in the second half and Burnley don't score, that's all we need. We just need them to win in the second half. Think of second half 3 money lines as in, even if let's say the first half is 3-0, the second half 3 money lines just resets that score pretty much at 0-0. So we just need Chelsea to win in that second half. Also, for my second pick, also in the England Premier League, is the Tottenham second half 3 money line as well, going up against Luton Town. Tottenham, just like Chelsea, always take a minute to kind of get started in the game. Tottenham is actually much better in the second half compared to Chelsea, and Luton allow the most goals in the second half away from home. I believe they've allowed like 26 goals. Burnley are the worst team just overall when it comes to wins or losses, but Luton just allow the most goals in general in the second half, and that's all Tottenham need to be able to score once or twice in the second half and beat them there. And for my last pick, this is under the German Bundesliga. If you want to play it safe, you can just take their normal money line, but I'm going to go with the Leipzig minus 1.5 going up against Mainz. They're over in their last 3 home games. They've won by 2 or more. Leipzig has in their last 3 home games, and Mainz is the worst defensive team away from home. They concede over 2 goals a game, and they might not even score likely. So I expect this to be either a 2-0 or a 3-1 win for Leipzig. So I like the odds for them to go over minus 1.5. Like I said, if you want to, you can take just a normal money line just because they are fighting for a Champions League spot. So I'm really confident they're going to win, but I'm taking them to win by at least 2 just so you can get that extra value. And I like them to beat Mainz by 2 or more goals. I did forget to mention too, the only other lean that I have for a player pick, it is Jose Sa, the Wolves goalkeeper in the England Premier League, to go over 3.5 saves. He is playing for Wolves away against Aston Villa, and it's kind of like the Samba pick from yesterday in the fact that he's a decent keeper. He's not as good as Samba, but he's a decent keeper, and Aston Villa allow a lot of shots, or they shoot on target a lot at home. But it's just that Wolves sometimes can be good defensively, and I'm just worried that it could be one of those games and Aston Villa are struggling and they don't take any shots on target or Saul doesn't save them. So I do have that one as lean. But other than that, like I said earlier, it's a large slate, so there are a lot of plays. I might add some later in the day for some of the later games. But I do appreciate everybody for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to boost the algorithm. But anything helps. I have my Cashapp and Underdog and Fliff account, all those codes in the description if you want to use my code or feel generous and feel like giving back. But like I said earlier, I appreciate everybody for watching. Hopefully we all cash out tomorrow. I'll see you next time.